affect us any, but I mean, it probably affected the whole stadium from what I view. You know, I mean, we should cheer on our defense when they're out there, and regardless of what offense is playing. But when you get opportunities, you gotta take advantage of them. I mean, when you play a team like that, if they do get a few long drives, then I think we had 4 drives the first half or whatever. So you gotta take advantage of it when you get the opportunity. But just think about it. I mean, if you know you're only gonna get a handful of opportunities, what's the chance of you going out there pressing, knowing that, look, I gotta make the most of this? And I think it was a lot of that going on.
It's going to change this week, obviously. Does that play more to your favor when do you like those up-tempo games and being able to kind of go out there and get into that rhythm?
If we win. Yeah, I love it.
25 carries, 25 yards. Are you concerned about the run game? Just wondering how much you're affecting.
But we try to average 1 yard a carry. I think that's pretty good. Right?
Carry it 300 times.
I'm not a mathematician. Yeah, we want to run the ball better. And I mean, what had happened was you can watch, and it's frustrating because you can watch the film, and what you see and what everybody else sees is basically a statistics sheet that says 25 and 25. What it doesn't read on there is much like a golf scorecard doesn't have pictures. A par can look a lot of different ways. You can chip in from the sand and make a par. You can have a birdie putt and tap in for a par. Well, we were a few times, if one guy finishes a block and the guy doesn't get his hand out, we're out on the safety with no space, like 4 or 5 times. But it just so happened that they made plays whenever those situations occurred, and we didn't get it done. And so, the coaching point is really, we're just going to continue doing what we're doing because it's there. We just have to finish blocks, and we just have to do a better job.
Obviously, with Austin not being in the game, that affected the run game too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it did, but I mean, we can't use that as an excuse. I mean, we have to, next guy up mentality. We can't get into the deal where one guy's down and we sit there and pout. Next guy up, play.
Can one guy make that big of a difference, though? Because the way you described it, those are the type of holes Sean Alston has a better opportunity to get through, perhaps.
I think those guys are young, and so, I think the more opportunities we give those guys, I think the better they're going to be at it. I mean, Sean's obviously had a lot of those opportunities, and we are, part of it is probably we're comfortable with watching him just break tackles and do this. So, there might be a comfort level in there, but, me personally, I think that the other ones we have are just as capable. We just have to continue doing it.
You've spent a year in the Big East, and obviously now with the Big 12. Can you put into perspective what we're all going to see and the fans are going to see in terms of a difference?
Offensively, it'll be different. They'll be a lot like us, up tempo, and they're not going to sit there and milk the clock. I don't know if anybody in the Big 12 will, but that's probably the biggest difference is just the tempo of the game and the attacking nature of offenses will be a little different. Maryland's scheme, is really to keep us off the field, and try to make some plays in the end and win, which, I thought they executed well for what they wanted to do. And so, that's probably not going to be the case anymore. They're probably not going to care what we do offensively. They're just going to run their stuff.
Is there a different defensive philosophy? I know it's tough to generalize, but it seems like everybody wants turnovers, but it seems like there's a huge emphasis placed on that in this conference.
You add a possession. That's the biggest part of a turnover is you steal a possession from the other team. And so when you can do that, I think it's huge. And so, but schemes and stuff defensively, I wouldn't know. I would guess that the objective of our defense is to stop the other team's offense.
How do you think you guys handled the blitz? And you talked a little bit about speeding things up with the receivers, Gino. How do you think you guys handled that?
How do you think we handled it? I thought at times we handled it well, and I thought at times we didn't. I think, the more we see that, the better we'll get at it. I think, teams, have different schemes, obviously, against us. It's the first time we've seen, that much pressure. And so, they got to us at times, and they got to us early, which probably had a lot to do with us settling down. The problem, too, is when, in the nature of what they were doing offensively, we get, you want to get back on the field and get going. Well, heck, you got to wait 15 minutes before you get another opportunity. It's tough. And so we just got to be mentally tougher than that.
How does Baylor's defense kind of compare to the three that you guys have seen so far?
I don't think it compares as far as what you're looking at. I mean, they're probably, Maryland's probably bigger than them. I think Baylor runs around well. They're quick. Their corners are fast. Their linebackers are fast. Their two ends are, rush the passer pretty good. So, I thought Maryland was big and fast. So I think Baylor's probably not as big, but probably close to as fast.
You guys are going to play all teams now that nobody has seen a Tavon Austin, and understandably you guys haven't seen them. But seeing somebody on film, and for these guys to see Tavon maybe in the first quarter for the first time, can he use that to his advantage in a way that his speed may be faster than they're expecting from what they've seen on film?
I surely hope so, but I don't think Tavon's going to be a surprise to anybody. With TV and things these days. I'm sure everybody's heard his name. I think that the speed of the game is something that every game you go into, you talk about overcoming the speed of the game, because as much as you practice on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, getting the speed of the game is obviously something that you're not going to simulate at practice. And so to think that their defensive guys are going to go against an offensive scout team that's going to simulate Tavon's speed is probably just as inaccurate as me saying that our defensive scout team is going to simulate Baylor's speed. And so we hope we can overcome the speed of the game when we get started, and then we hope that they can overcome it.
Going back to the turnovers for a second, I forget the exact stat, but I think they've forced at least one in the last 14 or 15 games. Do you see something specifically they do? Are they that aggressive, or is that just sort of happenstance, I guess, over?
I think it just happens. It's just football. They've gotten a little more aggressive this year than they have been. So they are blitzing more. So that might attest to some of it.
Shannon, Dana mentioned that you guys might, or kind of hinted that you might like to go a little vertical this game.
Yeah.
How does the game dictate that kind of stuff?
Well, if you're in a good flow, you feel better about taking shots, because if you know that opportunities are limited, you don't want to waste bullets like that. But if people are going to pressure us, then we have to throw vertical, and we have to make plays downfield. That's just part of it. There's nothing that probably gets the ball out quicker than just catching it and throwing it up. And so we feel like we have players on the outside that can make those plays. We just got to give them opportunities.